First story I got for you. 9-year-old accused of
I don't know
brutal.
why anyone follows this stream when you could be stalking. I mean, following Sonic.
9-year-old accused of brutally slaying his father. Police blame Call of Duty. We've got another video games cause violence story. News has recently surfaced regarding a brutal murder that took place in Utah. At the center of the situation is a 9-year-old who's been accused of murdering his father with a hatchet and a handgun. A vicious slaying that's been blamed on Call of Duty Warzone. Reportedly, prosecutors have been working to establish a link between the alleged murder and Call of Duty Warzone, given that the child had an affinity for particularly violent games. This is such a stupid argument, because unless the video game
Thanks for resubscribing.
Yo,
Should be enough money for TBH to cop a brick from Dr. Eggman.
shout out to Missile with the sub. Unless the video game specifically had some type of subliminal messaging in it that says, kill your father, kill him, how are you gonna blame the video game? But then again, I guess because it's Utah, it makes sense. Like, that's like a super religious state.
Follow you disgusting.
It's like the easy go-to thing to blame instead of, you know, evaluating the kid's mental health or what was going on in the household. The parents could have been abusive. Like, who knows? You don't know why this person spazzed out the way that they did, but just going straight to Call of Duty Warzone is crazy. In an article published by Yahoo News, it was explained that the Utah Police Department arrived at the home in Thule to find a man bleeding from a gunshot wound to the head, sheesh, and lacerations that were deemed defensive wounds. It was further reported that the 9-year-old, who has never been named, had emerged from the room and said that his dad was bleeding from the head and was dead. Per sources that obtained copies of the arrest warrants, it was claimed that the boy was addicted to consuming content, watching video games, and watching videos and playing video games, many of which were deemed to be not age appropriate. It has been claimed that the prosecutors have zeroed in on Call of Duty Warzone as a contributing factor to his alleged murder because it has the same weapons and gameplay that were found and used in the assault. Like, what I hate about this argument too, this is such a tired 90s argument, is like they even acknowledged in the thing, in the arrest documents, that he was watching videos and playing video games. Who's to say a movie didn't do this shit, right? But even though that's still all this shit is a stupid argument. Why not talk to the kid and be like, what's going on with you, man? Why do you think you did this? No, we can't do that. We just got a Warzone. Warzone. I get it's full of microtransactions, but it don't drive a nigga that goddamn crazy. It's been suggested the boy struggled with behavioral issues that could have contributed to the alleged murder. RIP to the dad, man. That's unfortunate. So we're not going to talk about the fact that a 9-year-old kid allegedly offed his father. He offed the father. That's what I'm saying. Like, that sounds more like a mental health issue, and he needs an evaluation. Like, what the fuck does Call of Duty? And then also, how did the 9-year-old get a hold of the gun? Why is that not a part of the conversation? Like, was it just out in the open? He was just able to get his dad like that? What are we talking about here? It's like the idiots who talk about banning guns. This is such a, but like I said, once I read the Utah Police Department, I was like, that makes sense. It takes place in Utah. Like, they're still stuck in the 90s. Yeah, gun safety is important. Like, you got to lock your shit up, bruh. Lacerations that were deemed defensive. Sounds like the kid was defending himself. He had the dad that was, well, let me make sure, because I read that as the dad was defending himself. Did I read that wrong? Where's the lacerations part? Oh, here we go. It was explained that the Utah PD arrived at the home in Thule to find a man bleeding from a gunshot wound to the head and lacerations that were deemed defensive. Yeah, I'm reading that as the dad had a gunshot wound and lacerations, not the kid had the lacerations. Nah, that makes sense. Defending against the hatchet. Yeah, like, I think it's lacerations on the dad. If it was on the kid, like I said, we don't know what's going on in the household, but I'm reading this as it was on the dad. If you're gonna have a gun, you got to be responsible with taking care of it and making sure no one gets access to it. Yeah, like, why does your 9-year-old know where the fuck that shit is, bro? This is just like a sad story overall, and unfortunately, I hope like mainstream media doesn't pick up this dumbass story, bro. And we have another shit on Fox News. See, Call of Duty did it. Be like, bro, Call of Duty is just annoying and boring and uninnovative, but it has nothing to do with what's going on. T-Base makes a good point. Go to the kid first. Maybe if someone had done something to begin with, this wouldn't have happened. That's the first thing I would do. Like, unfortunately, it sounds like they arrested this kid and he's probably just sitting in juvenile, waiting to be, are they going to mentally evaluate him? Waiting to be what, rehomed? Put into the foster system? Why is a 9-year-old playing Call of Duty? That's a fair take too. I still wouldn't put it on the game because like I was playing games that I wasn't supposed to be playing like a lot of y'all grew up playing Grand Theft Auto and y'all turned out fine, at least halfway decent. Some of y'all weird, but you get the point. Like I'm not gonna solely blame this. There's no evidence of this. There's been plenty of studies that have proven that there's no correlation between video games and violence in real life. It's just an age-old argument that boomers like to make. And they went straight. They're just looking for a reason to try to understand why. I mean, you can cut someone while defending yourself because a lot of victims would have had the assaulter's skin. That would make more sense, though. If the lacerations were on the kid, that would make more sense. Like, and that's why I said you don't know what's going on in the home. The kid could have been abused by the father, and he felt he had to defend himself, and he grabbed a gun or something like that. Overall, the story is just sad. Period. It's just sad. Period. And it's somebody lost their father. A kid is about to be displaced into the foster system. Juvenile. I don't know. Doesn't even sound, because there's nothing in this article that even mentions a mental evaluation. The kid's probably not gonna get the help that he needs. Yo, shout out to shout out to MJ with the sub. Like, that's the real tragedy of this. I don't see anything in this article about this kid is gonna receive some help. If there's something mentally off about him, he could end up being a big issue for society. I don't know. Sad across the board, but stop blaming video games, bro. Shit's lame. It's easier to blame the game than real world issues. I'm saying, bro. I'm saying. Let's move on to something more lighthearted, though. That was the same story for there. Is this Insider Gaming? What is this? Oh, here we go. Might just end up in a mental hospital till he's an adult. Unfortunate.
This money helps keep Shadow's black acid banned.
Yo, shout out to the Ant Kid with the sub. The video game argument is so dumb because in retrospect, video games have only been around for less than 1% of the time we've been committing. Yeah. Were video games at fault for the Holy Wars? Like, what are we talking about, bro? Did you see LeBron's new podcast? Nah, what was that? New Xbox dev kit raided in South Korea. Is this a new Xbox? I didn't read this article. Let's see. A new Xbox dev kit has been raided in South Korea, first found and reported by Xbox News for Koreans. This new Xbox dev kit was approved on Monday, March 18th with the model number 2089. This kit was manufactured in China and Vietnam. Under the laws in Korea, all electronic devices in Korea must be certified by the National Radio Research Agency that there's no risk of harming the radio wave environment. Xbox News for Koreans posted, without getting certified, you can't use the device in Korea. Is Xbox big in Korea? Like, I'm confused to why is the dev kit there? Yeah, LeBron has a podcast with JJ Redick now. Did it just come out? With the approval from the agency, the device is now able to be used in the country and is likely to be distributed to game developers in Korea soon. Whether this is a next-gen Xbox or the long-rumored mid-gen refresh of the console remains to be seen. However, it's further proof to the notion made by Microsoft that the Xbox Series X consoles weren't going to be the company's last system. So I guess, yeah, all the Xbox fanboys that were returning the Xboxes to GameStop and showing their receipts off, relax, there is another one coming because a dev kit is in the wild. If I had to take an educated guess, this is probably the Xbox Series X Pro, whatever the fuck they're going to call it. I don't think this will be the new Xbox because, I mean, all the PS5 Pro rumors are coming out, and it's about that time. We're on year 3, going on year 4. Like, it's almost been 5 years these consoles have been out. And it's crazy because by the time we hit year 5, some of you niggas will still be asking, is it coming to PS4? Your PS4 is 15 years old. You have a video game console, a computer that's a teenager. Is it? I'm just saying, like, it looks, I think my PS4 could run it. I'm gonna slander you niggas into upgrading. I think it could run it, bro. I think it could run it, bro. You better hope that bitch turns on. I hate the naming scheme for the X. I do too. I think for the next Xbox, maybe if this is like the mid gen refresh, they're probably gonna keep it in the series name, Xbox Series X Plus or something like that. I'm fine with that, but like for the next big one, the next major entry, they really need to sit down with the marketing team and really think about something that sticks. They need to get away from this series shit. Do not call it the Xbox 2, a follow-up to the Xbox One. It's too late for Xbox 720. At this point, I don't even know what the fuck do you call it? Like, what would y'all call it? I wouldn't be mad at the 720. I just feel like they missed the boat on that shit. Xbox Triple X. What the fuck? You niggas want to watch some porn. Xbox 180, what? The box. The Xbox Cubicle. The Xbox box. Tony Hawk 900, Xbox Platinum, Xbox Gold. Yeah, at this point, yeah, they really need to hire like a marketing team to sit down and just brainstorm for like a month straight, just throw darts at a fucking board or just write them on the wall. The Xbox GOG. All right, man, y'all not being serious, man. Y'all not.
Thanks
Next
for
time,
knuckle fucking that follow button.
you guys are not being serious, and neither is Knuckles. Let's see what we got. Xbox Evolution. That's okay. That could be okay. Let's see what's going on. I don't know what this one's about. Confusing as fuck for parents who have kids that play. Yeah, like sometimes like people have to understand when it comes to business, like keeping things as simple as possible is a great idea. That's why the Wii U did. I truly believe the Wii U did not sell because it was a horrible, like it wasn't the best console, but it could have did better if it was named the Wii 2. Instead, they called it the Wii U. So like if they're coming out with a direct successor to the Switch, just call it the Switch 2. Don't call it the Switch Platinum Plus Ultra Instinct. Just call it the Switch 2. It's less confusing, okay? Because not everybody sits and streams like this. And not everybody goes on IGN and reads articles and shit like that. Most people go to GameStop, step all over, step on diamond ore, Minecraft swords, and get Legos up they fucking feet at the Switch. Shit, look at Project L's name change. Yeah, I think they're gonna have some marketing issues with that name change. If they were gonna come out with 2XO, they should have just kept that shit as Project L. Anyways, what's going on with Warner Bros. Games strategy? Warner Bros. Games has been discussing its business strategy. How many hardware generations are you expecting before we go full digital? I wouldn't be surprised if next generation, like PlayStation 6 and whatever the next Xbox is called, I wouldn't be surprised if that generation is full digital. Although I feel like I've seen a pushback. I feel like I've seen a pushback recently. It's hard to tell where like there's like a resurgence in appreciation for hard copies, whether it be music, video games, whatever. Like I seen it was either a tweet or a TikTok, and somebody had presented the question like, let's say like nuclear war pops off tomorrow, right? And you manage to survive because you get in a bunker, right? You come up and you have like a CD player or like an MP3 player or something, right? There was like, and you only had like, what do you have, a music or a movie collection to keep you entertained? Do you have something? I thought about that. I was like, yeah. I was like, the streaming is cool, and as convenient as the streaming era and the downloading era is, it is kind of scary too, because you don't own shit. At any point, Spotify could say, fuck y'all, we're taking our catalog back. How are you going to listen to music? If like, I feel like physical media does hit more. I feel like I also feel like the unexpected consequence.
Thanks for resubscribing. This should be enough money for TBH to cop a brick from Dr. Eggman.
Shout out to Blackout with the sub. I feel like the unexpected consequence of digital media and the mass consumption of it is there's a lack of appreciation for art as a whole now. Because we can get it on demand, people don't appreciate it anymore. Like I remember, I think the first CD I ever bought was Chingy's first album. Don't laugh. Like I like Chingy. I was a kid. And I remember I played the fuck out that Chingy album, like for like 3 months straight. That's all I listened to. And like, it made you like, it gave you a chance to actually digest the music, if that makes sense. Fuck y'all. I like the way she do that right there. Like, I don't feel like anybody digests anything anymore. An album comes out, niggas is on Twitter saying classic album, trash album, mid. That's why, like, when I do like an album review, I usually don't do it until like a week after like the hype dies down, because I don't want to share my opinion a day after. Let me sit with it for a week or two. Like, let me see how I feel. Because one thing about music and art as a whole, a lot of times it affects you depending on where you are in life. You may not appreciate something if you are not in the right headspace. Like I remember, like the song always comes to my mind is like, I did not like Drake's Scorpion album, but I remember when I was going through a breakup, that song Jaded hit different. He had some bars on there that I just related to that shit so hard. But like when I wasn't in that mindset, I'm like, get this shit the fuck out of here. But now I appreciate the song more because I was in that mindset, if that makes sense. It's the same thing across the board, whether it be video games, movies, whatever. Yeah, according to the internet, music is either completely trash or instant classic, pretty much. Would you go back and listen to it now that you're older? The Chingy album? The album as a whole, no, but Chingy's got some bangers. Like, don't disrespect Chinky. Chinky got some bangers. Right there, when you're right there, come on, that shit hard. He makes good music for niggas going through it. Pretty much, music make you back. Yeah, like a good album will take you back to like a summer. Like you'll remember where you were at, basically. Yeah, I agree. I think commercial free binge watching has ruined TV shows. There's no time to process scenes during commercials anymore. Tapped into a great, yeah. It's just like something to think about. But like I thought about that. I was like, yeah, if like your city got hit with a fucking, what's that shit called, an EMP, and like the lights went out, electricity was out for like 2 weeks, and all you had was some batteries and a CD player. Do you have some music to listen to keep you occupied? Do you have something you could appreciate? I was like, damn, I really don't own anything. I was like, man, I was like, man, maybe I do need to start collecting again. Forest Hills Drives is still my favorite album. Always remember that time. And then also, yeah, I'm cooked. Like, think about it too from like a worst case scenario, like a Fallout situation too, right? How do you maintain humanity without the art? Because I don't care what nobody says. When historians look back on time periods, like let's say this time period, or when we go back to look at there are two things people usually look back at when it comes to history. The major conflicts, the war, and the art. Art does matter, but like if it's all digitized and nobody owns it, if something happens to those digital platforms, there's no way to maintain history. Like, I mean, you could take it back all the way to like the caveman days. Art is how we deciphered the way that they think. Them drawings on the caves and shit like that. Art, yeah, we lose most of it. Art does matter. That's why low-key I be hating when motherfuckers be talking down on people on Twitter about the way I do feel like artists need to get better at business as a whole. But like, it is a viable job. It does matter. You sitting in your fucking suite trading stocks. The stocks market crash tomorrow. That shit doesn't matter. Look at Star-Lord carrying. Yeah, it's a great example. Star-Lord, the way he would carry that cassette tape, that shit got him through space. Oh, that's a fictional character, but you get the point. I be heading down to my local vinyl shop. Be getting hella shit. Yeah, art is the best part of living, bro. Let's get back into this article though. Would rather end myself than live in apocalypse society. People just imagine being assed out, just hot as hell, nothing to watch, nothing to listen to, just be talking to your annoying ass neighbors, bro. Ancient West African culture has been lost to time because we shared our history orally. Also, a lot of us were enslaved, so don't forget that part. It wasn't just that history was transferred orally. A lot of us were taken away too, and told us shut the fuck up, stop sharing that shit. Was one of the top selling games of 2023, but the company intends to focus on. We already seen this shit, bro. About the live service shit. Let's talk about some more scary shit. What up, Cammy? Shout out to the 400 we already got in here. Oh, here's our Ubisoft boss says generative AI is just another new technology to be tested. Ubisoft bosses Yves Guillemot has discussed the company's strategy for experimenting with generative AI as detailed in today's announcement of Neo NPCs, a new prototype project from Ubisoft designed to let video game characters respond with custom responses to players' speech input. Y'all want to talk to NPCs? Speaking at a press briefing for the Neo NPC project held at GDC this week in San Francisco, attended by Eurogamer's Chris Tapsell, Guillemot likened Ubisoft's experimentation with general AI to some of its early bets on emerging technology, like Xbox's camera-connected Nintendo's motion-controlled Wii. I don't know if that's a good example. The Kinect is one of the worst products of all time. This shit is ass. And I don't care what nobody says. The Wiimote sucks. The original one did. The Wiimote didn't become good until the Wiimote Plus. That was one of the reasons why I did not like the Wii. I feel like a lot of people who have like a fond memory of like the Wii is because a lot of y'all were young when that shit came out. I was in high school when that shit came out. I don't care what nobody says. The original Wii, before that Wiimote came out, that shit was ass. Fucking, it didn't track nothing you did. You said, I love it for the nostalgia 100%. I think the only game I think I genuinely loved on the Wii was the Wii Sports, I think. But other than that, I was like, that was the one era of Nintendo I could not get into. The Fable Connect yeah. I remember I tried to play, what was it, Twilight Princess with the Wii. It was fun for about 30 seconds, and then I was tired of blowing my shoulder out. I just was tired of swinging the sword and shit like that. Asked whether Ubisoft was something too early with taking up new tech, Guillemot responded by saying, it's not always too early. Sometimes you're right, but being able to adopt the Wii early was a good move because we're able to do things we couldn't do before. Connect was also very interesting because it gave us a chance to create new experiences that were very reactive. We created Just Dance with the Wii. That was a popular game. No More Heroes on the Wii was gas. Yeah, I never played it. Actually, my favorite thing about the Wii era was when it first came out, like the first 2 years, like the number of videos that would come out on YouTube of people breaking their TVs because they refused to use the wrist straps and they would play the bowling. Got a big ass crack in your fucking 70-inch TV playing Wii Sports. That was my favorite thing about the Wii era. I was like, y'all are still cracking them TVs. We think each time with new technology is coming on a new machine, you have the possibility to create new experiences, he continued. When the Xbox capacity came, we were able to create Splinter Cell. You can always do new things you wanted to do because the technology is at the level that allows you to create those experiences, but it doesn't work all the time. You're not even explaining. What the fuck are you doing with this? What you have to consider is all the new evolutions that are considered and tested. Generative AI is really something that existed in our industry for a long time. Now we're taking another step because there are a lot of investments in the subject, so video games are going to use it like other industries do. I hope this doesn't lead to Ubisoft using AI to create. Like Ubisoft is like, oh, you know what? Now that we have AI, we can generate more shitty side quests than ever. It's going to be, all we got to do is create a template of a fetch quest, a collectathon.
Appreciate the bits, my nigga. I'm gonna use every bit of this money to invest in Bitcoin. Eventually, one of these hoes will be bit by hedgehog fever and attempt to suck up every bit of my seed. And guess what? I'ma let 'em.
Shout out to whoever just donated the bits. And then we're going to take that template and we're going to use the AI to just regurgitate it. So we can focus on creating another generic, boring story. I don't know about Ubisoft being super excited about this. This shit's got me on the floor and I'ma let them. They might as well use AI to create a decent story. AI's not there yet. AI stories are fucking ass. Something's wrong with you? You're right. That's my favorite compliment. I don't even know why people say that to me. I'm a troll. That is one of my favorite compliments of all time. Why are you like this? GTA 6. Shut the fuck up. Like, why not? Life's too short. Exactly, because it's fun. Leaker who predicted the announcement of Grand Theft Auto 6 last November/December is back at it again. Now they're leaking the release date for GTA 6 to be February 18th, 2025. 11 months today on Tuesday, the 18th, February 2025, Grand Theft Auto 6 will be launched globally. Take it with a grain of salt. I guess this guy's been right about some things in the past, but take it with a grain of salt. None of this is confirmed. That feels way too early. The only reason I'll give it some merit is because a lot of AAA games do tend to release in February. Elden Ring came out in February. Did Tekken come out in February? When did Tekken come out? What is this, March? When did Tekken 8 come out? It did? I think it did. No, well, that's February. January 26th. That's a February release. Forspoken did. Horizon. Yeah, that's why I give it some merit. Just from like a corporate standpoint, for some reason, corporations do like to release in February. So like, that's why I said I'm going to give it like a little bit of merit, but still take it with a big grain of salt because they didn't confirm this themselves. Jedi Survivor 2. No, it probably did. Shout out to the 500 we got our area here. But yeah, like I don't have like some super insight on that. I just saw that on my timeline. I thought I'd share it with you. That's a rumor going around. Benny the Butcher dropped an album in late January. What that got to do with the games, bro? What? we talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 dropping in February. Benny the Butcher dropped too. Like, what's that got to do with it? Did you know Benny the Butcher dropped a brick, by the way? Did you know? He got a brick. He got a brick. In more Sony slander news, rumors going around that Sony's leadership feels that Bungie has failed as an investment. Yesterday, we had news about how Sony is upset about the lack of sales for the PSVR 2, which if I could add something more to that story, for those who missed yesterday's stream and haven't seen the video on Hokage highlights, the summary of that article is that the PSVR 2 is selling so bad that there's an overstock at every major brick and mortar store. So they have like a warehouse full of PSVRs 2s, and they stop the production of them until they sell, which they're probably never going to sell because nobody wants that shit. So there's an overstock of PSVR 2s. Nobody wants that shit. So to add that to it, I uploaded a video this morning of me talking about that from yesterday's stream, right? Somebody left a comment, and shout out to this dude. I wish I could remember your name. It had me cracking up this morning. He said he works at the PX on a military base. A PX is the it's their store. It's their that you can only get in the military. They get like discounts and shit like that. But at the PX, you can get everything: electronics, toiletries. It's like a Target, but it's just for military, right? So he was saying he works at the PX on his military base, and he said since the day the PSVR 2 has launched, they've had a large pallet of PSVR 2s, and nobody's bought that shit in the last year. So he was like, I can co-sign this story as someone who works in a store. He's like, nigga, ain't nobody buying that shit. He's like, we done deals. We dropped the price. Nobody wants to buy that shit. I thought that was fucking funny. I was like, damn, even the soldiers don't want to get lost in a virtual reality, bro. They said they rather deal with the bullshit from their fucking sergeant master and shit. They're a general store, not the commissary. The commissary is for groceries. Sony ponies is frauds. Hey, I've been saying this. The evidence is coming out. Sony niggas love to sit in Twitter spaces and talk about how great their games are, but we look at the numbers. If it ain't The Last of Us, Sony niggas really don't be buying their exclusives like they say they do. But then they'll sit in the comment section of my video and say that I'm a Sony hater, even though I criticize everybody and I play every Sony exclusive. But niggas really don't be buying Sony games like that, bro. Wait until Uncharted 5, pretty much. If it ain't Uncharted 5 or The Last of Us, motherfuckers is hella fraudulent. I'm right, this is a throwaway. Please just use this information to corroborate other sources you may have. Internal perspective at Sony is very negative towards Bungie right now. It is seen as a failed investment, and strategies are being discussed to resolve around more recouping losses. One internal leader from the US is fighting to take over the right to the ship, while many others across the Pacific want a much harsher method. The former US leader holds a respect from overseas leadership, so it's likely she will get their way. The person's perspective is that there are many gluttonous executives at Bungie who are not doing their jobs and are hindering the organization. It is believed that the workers are skilled, but the leadership is unable to perform their duties. I wonder what that means, gluttonous. Because like when I hear gluttonous, all I can think of is like the CEO and maybe the vice president are taking in too much money.
More subs than that? Rouge the Bat just upped the prices on her OnlyFans. The fuck I'm supposed to do with this?
Yo, shout out to Michael with the get this sub. Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that the higher ups are taking too much money, which is not being reinvested in the company. Because like there was a statistic that came out. It was like an image. It was a picture of Nintendo CEO and Bobby Kotick, which is the former CEO of Activision, and the CEO of Nintendo makes $2 million a year. Which, you know, in my opinion, I thought he would have at least made like 5, but you could live comfortable with $2 million. Like, you know what I'm saying? You would think they make more because Nintendo is a powerhouse, right? Versus Bobby Kotick, he was worth like 200 million or some shit like that. I was like, that's fucking crazy, man. But I guess it's like a cultural difference. Yarn. What else, Siggy? Bungie is in a hard spot because pre-order numbers are lower than anticipated. I apologize. I do not have details on actual numbers. Sony believes that the finances will not allow Bungie to avoid a takeover even with another round of layoffs, as they could cannibalize development and future revenue. Overall, Sony has been very upset at Bungie's leadership. They have not been able to successfully advise Sony teams, and while Lightfall hit internal revenue targets, every target since has been missed at an escalating decline. They say ain't nobody playing Destiny 2, nigga. Do you remember when you could order a pizza on the Wii? No, I didn't play the Wii like that. Did you not? Ronan, you do not listen, bro. Don't get a 600. Bungie leadership regularly reschedules meetings with the Sony leadership. Know that the next time slot could be months away. I hope this sheds light on ongoing things from Sony's side. It is believed that the takeover would allow Sony to turn Destiny into a more profitable game. It won't. Sony's leadership can take over Destiny. That doesn't make me interested in the game. I mean, Destiny is so fucking overrated, bro. Destiny should be held. Destiny should be considered an overachiever, in my opinion. Destiny is the best-selling 6 out of 10 I've ever seen, and that applies to Destiny 1 and 2. I don't care what nobody says. Destiny 1 and 2 is the best-selling 6 out of 10 I've ever seen. It's like, it's not horrible, But like the gameplay, the main gameplay loop is just fucking boring. So after you beat the main story, I don't want to continue to shoot at bullet sponges. And then the multiplayer's balancing is constantly changing. You know, they're coming out with DLC with more powerful weapons. If you don't have that DLC, you're fucked. I'm not buying that shit. You gotta buy DLC to play multiplayer, nigga? Fuck that. It's an imbalancing issue that like, no thank you. Destiny's been shit for a while. Locking paid content away is insane. What up, Tube? We see you. They faked it for so long, they don't know how to keep it up. So it sounds like Bungie really needs a win with Marathon. And what did the rumor come out a couple months ago? Removing planets too. I didn't even know. It's been a while. I haven't played Destiny 2 since launch. The rumor had came out that they flew out some content creators to play Marathon, and then Bungie asked who would buy this game if it came out tomorrow, and nobody raised their hand. I would hate to see them go. They got to find a way. Also, keep in mind, none of this is confirmed. I'm assuming this is coming from like a forum or something like this, because this person does not state the source. Like, where is this from? Off topic, you interested in the new doc exposing people at Nickelodeon? Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Quiet on the Set. I have it on my whiteboard of list of things to watch. I'm gonna get to it. I was just talking about it earlier because like I drive past Nickelodeon all the time. Like it just doesn't hit the same when you like when I first moved here and I drove past Nickelodeon. I was like, oh shit, it's Nickelodeon. I drive past it now. It doesn't hit the same. What else we got for ya? Why Black Ops David Vonderhaar doesn't want his new studio Bullet Farm to compete with Call of Duty. Corporate systems is killing the arts and creative industry. It really is, man. I feel like corporate suits have always been an issue, but like the balance, I feel like it used to be like a 70-30 issue. It feels like the suits are like an 80-20 now, where the suits are taking over 80% of every creative process, and it's ruining a lot of shit. So for those of you unaware, David Vonderhaar is the helm. He's the leader of a new studio that just got announced like 2 weeks ago. We was talking about it on a stream. It's called Bullet Farm. They're working on a new shooter. I believe it's a co-op PvE shooter. And I guess they're releasing a statement about why they want to compete with Call of Duty. If you don't know who David Vonderhaar is, if you're too young, he's one of like the original video game rock stars. Like when I was younger, like the only names I could come off the top of my head that like I knew like that was probably Miyamoto, Sakurai, Reggie, Vonderhaar, and then Cliffy B from like Gears of War. Like being a rock star in the gaming space as a gaming developer is very rare. And he was definitely a rock star. I remember in the old Call of Duty days, if you had a problem, like if you got hit with a noob tube, fuck Vonderhaar. Like Kojima, yeah, I thought you could throw Kojima up there. He's a rock star. Yeah. But like in the old days of Call of Duty, like I was in high school, it used to be fuck Vonderhaar. It wasn't fuck Activision. It wasn't fuck Call of Duty. Like niggas used to tweet Vonderhaar. They used to be in the forums. They used to be on this nigga's ass, bruh. And it's because he was the head of Call of Duty at that time. When you made some of the biggest games on the planet, juggling budgets of millions of dollars and selling millions of copies, what comes next? And that's the only reason I suggest pay attention to his new studio, because he's made good games. He's responsible for some of the best Call of Duties. For Vonderhaar, it was nearly a year off in an RV with his dog, but then he decided to do it again only on the terms of his time this time around. So basically, he's been off in an RV, hanging out with his dog, you know, seeing the world, spending his money. I'm not mad at it, but he said he's ready to come back like Jordan in the 4-5. John Marrero is up there too for the Boomers. Who's that? I don't know that one. I'm a Boomer. I don't know that one. After stepping away from Treyarch, where he served as a multiplayer design director on the legendary Call of Duty World at War, before moving up to the studio design director. So yeah, if you're wondering why the maps have been so ass in Call of Duty recently, it's because this guy is not there anymore. The Doom creator. Yeah, okay. Before moving up to the studio design director of the Sukunin Black Ops friend, Vonderhaar is now ramping up a new studio under the banner NetEase Games. I think it's destructive to creators, and I don't think it's super healthy for gamers either. I think having diversity is what we play, is better for entertainment in general. If there are only 5 franchises in the world and that's all you can watch, what are you missing? What new ideas? I agree. We need new IPs. I've been on record. So, you know what I'm getting out of this? He's saying that I wanted to come back on my own terms and I wanted to create something new. If I were to come back, I don't want to just join the Call of Duty team again. I respect it. He said, I want to, it kind of feeds into the narrative I've been saying for years, where I'm like, yo, people, these game developers, they're artists, whether you want to acknowledge them or not. And like, there's no way you can convince me that like, as an artist, you want to make Call of Duty every fucking year. I feel like sometimes we forget that these are people that got to pay bills. And sometimes you have to listen to your boss. So like, this kind of feeds into that narrative. He was like, bro, I don't want to make the same shit again. I've been on record that I don't want to operate that way. I don't want to make a game that's sequelized for 10 years. Call of Duty shots. I've already done that. I don't need to do that again. I did it with a bunch of other people who were very hardworking, but we've been there. It's time to do the new version of that, whatever that shapes up to be. When the finer details still need to be tested and hammered out, Vonderhaar comes from a shooter background, and shooters are what Bullet Farm is going to make. If you couldn't already tell that from the studio being at Literal Farm for bullets. Yeah, shooter market is dry right now. We need a new shooter. We need something innovative that sticks. I thought maybe damn, I already forgot the damn name of it. What's the game show shit that came out like a month or two ago? I thought that was gonna stick. The finals, yeah, I thought the finals was gonna stick, but like it had some balancing issues, and then it got plagued by hackers. Unfortunately, kind of lost momentum. It's a crowded landscape and one that's dominated by massive properties, not the least one Vonderhaar used to work on. But even though Bullet Farm is a new studio, it's not an indie one. So where many game developers with a strong profile transition to making games with a smaller scope, Bullet Farm was immediately tagged with the AAA label, tasked with delivering eye-catching experiences at NetEase, which makes sense. NetEase got money. I believe they're a Korean publisher. They got a lot of money. And I know that he recruited a lot of industry veterans. So like, it's a new studio, but like they have the talent of a AAA and the money. So yeah, that makes sense. XDefiant is like the Avatar Aang right now. I don't know about the Avatar, but I think people were looking forward to it, and they killed their own momentum.
Sub make me happy. Sort of like when Rouge the Bat throws it back.
Yo, shout out to Black Saves with the sub. Why not? Do you want to be Studio C? Vonderhaar jokes when asked about the decision to frame Bullet Farm that way. It was natural. This is where we're from. This is what we worked on. So subconsciously, I wanted to put that label on us so we perform that way. He says, shoot for the stars. But we do put these big statements in play that give us this constant things to go for. Yeah, we need another quadruple A game. Maybe they can make it. If we said that, we have to make that true. We're going to make sure that our ideas are solid and prototyped. We're not going to tell the world what we're making, then spend a year on it and have to lie about it because it didn't work out. What the fuck is this notification? Realistic expectations seem to be the core part of Bullet Farm's mission statement, both from the perspective of maintaining sustainable, high-quality development and building a reputation and brand. If only we could get a game that's creative and fun. Like imagine a game where you can wall run and jump in these giant robots and switch the whole gameplay up. Yeah, if only there was a game like that. The only red flag with this studio is, yeah, they've got the talent, they've got the money. Like I said, like when they first announced it, it's backed by NetEase. And what does NetEase make again? Let me see. There's one thing I know, this game is probably going to be free to play and full of fucking microtransactions. Oh, my bad. It's not Korean. It's a Chinese studio. NetEase Games. Game portfolio. Let's just go there. But let's see. What the fuck is this? Look, they got Bullet Farm right there, ready to go. You know, bro, I know. Oh, all games. Drums with China. Bloodstrike, the Naraka Blade Point, Lords of Ring mobile game, Dead by Daylight mobile, Knives Out, a mobile knockoff. Yeah, Marvel Super War mobile. A lot of mobile games where they're gonna microtransaction the fuck out of you, basically. That's my only concern about that. What would you call that game? Titanfall 3, baby. It'll be interesting to see though. That's good that he wants to make something different. I just hope that the publisher doesn't hold him back and they actually give him creative control and don't fucking microtransaction the fuck out of everything.
Thanks for the follow, buddy. Hopefully you're not as annoying as me.
Last but not least, Dragon's Dogma 2 director reveals why online co-op is not in the game. Let's get straight to the quotes. Why there's no online co-op. Speaking to Agamon Digivolve 2! Dragon's Dogma 2 director Itsuno explained why there's no multiplayer co-op in the game. A lot of people have been asking about it. When asked if Capcom is considering any multiplayer options, Itsuno provided the following response. We have not been considering any form of multiplayer for Dragon's Dogma 2. I think online games have their good sides, just as offline games have their own. But the concept of the original game was to incorporate fun gameplay elements not found in conventional offline games while removing all the hassles of online games. This is one of the basic ideas of the first game that I don't plan on straying from. Basically, nigga, it ain't coming. It ain't coming. Dragon's Dogma had an MMO version that was popping in Japan only. Yeah, I want to see something new. That's kind of why I hate Avium and I can't hate Avium and Forspoken. They just weren't good games. Yeah, he said fuck no. Like, it's disappointing because I understand why. It looks like a game that would benefit from co-op, but half of me also respects this. He said, nigga, this is what I wanted to make. I like when artists do that shit. This is what the fuck I wanted to make. To me, that's actually a green flag. Like if you remove your ego and like your feelings out of it, like, oh, there's no co-op, to me, it's actually a green flag. He said, bitch, this is what the fuck I want to make, and I made it really well. Fucking eat it. Like it's like a meal. It's like a meal you've never ate before, and it looks gross maybe, but then you try it. Oh, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. So like I'm gonna take it as a green flag. Yeah, he said take it or leave it. I said I respect his stance. Right. Sometimes niggas gotta understand multiplayer is not needed for everything. Yeah. And I actually, the funny thing is that this article came out today. So tomorrow the embargo lifts. There will be a media blitz expected in your sub box if you follow like a lot of gaming content creators. Tomorrow the embargo lifts for reviews on Dragon's Dogma 2. And I touch a little bit on this, the co-op thing. I'm not going to tell you why. I talk about it in my video at least. But I'm not going to